All right. So our goal today is to try and rebuild Aurelia weapons of war. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I just kind of want to revisit it. It's been, I don't know, at least a few years, I think. So, yeah, we're going to try to rebuild weapons of war, and we'll try to do it together. I'm probably going to need your guys' help, honestly, to cover some of the new cards that have come out, because I have not kept up on them all that well. So I think the first thing we do is start with a deck that's kind of close, at least has the mana base. And I think that, what's her name? Cassandra, I think, is the best thing to start from here. So we'll do that. Lots of new toys since the last version. Yeah, I mean, the last version was probably 4 years ago at least. So, I've done other like similar things over time, but yeah, there's been so many cards. So many cards. Okay, so yeah, we'll make a copy of this. All right, we got this. I mean, I think Cassandra's going in the 99 of this deck. She is pretty ridiculous. Aurelia is moving over here. And then, yeah, now we start the game of cutting and adding. So, yeah, for you guys in chat, very much feel free to suggest cards that have come out, particularly in the last year or two, because that is where I'm going to be very weak. How do we feel about the Lost Jet? It's interesting. I don't know that it's good enough. We needed like a maybe pile somewhere. Okay. So, Lost Jet, maybe pile. That'll probably end up getting cut. The Wanderer doesn't really go with what we're doing, but it's just good. Return, settle the wreckage, sulfurous blast. That's all Sunforger stuff. Visions of Phyrexia. That's interesting. The Power Stones help you equip equipment, so that's a thing. Not a huge fan of the new Jet. Yeah, I mean, well, the old one. I just saw it. Where is it? This one is one of the most insane cards ever printed. So, like, by comparison, the new one has to be weaker. The new one, cool utility, right? Like certain decks, untapping a land can actually be pretty strong, particularly that land is like coffers or cradle. Um, Target creature can't block this turn. +1/+1 counter is probably like a little underwhelming, but it is a 1/1 equipment. So, like, there is also that. So, yeah, I don't know. Just, like, they couldn't make it as good as the other one. The other one is actually insane and just dominates the game half the time that it's out. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm glad they watered it down a little. Maybe they went too far. I don't know. It's such like a with that charge up counter, like that's such a fine line to get that balance the right way. So I don't necessarily mind that they went with the side of caution on that particular one because this one's insane. Um, okay, 103rd Cardish, yeah, I feel that for sure. Actually, this deck has like Hookblade we can get rid of. That was a test card. Man, I want to live the dream in Great Sword of Tyr Aurelia. That sounds so much fun, but I don't know that that's good enough. We should probably like make these piles a little smaller. So I don't have to scroll so much. All right, here's my question. Blind Obedience. Do we still need Blind Obedience now that Dockside Extortionist is gone? That is the question on my mind. Maybe Excalibur would be good here. Maybe. I think it might be at the top. This, yep, it's at the top. It is a 12 drop after all. This was a test card on the list. We can get rid of that. I think the axe that goes with it. What's it called? This thing. Central library for that. Creature has 2-0 haste or 2-0 and trample. Meh. Fun tempo piece, but it's not solving anything problematic anymore. Yeah, I mean it's still good, right? Like it's even with Dockside going down, it still just puts things in slow motion. And when I think about this deck, in theory, this deck can be fast, but the mere fact that we are trying to use Aurelia at some point means that we probably do need to slow the game down. And Blind Obedience is one way to do that. So, would love to not have to cut it. Elhemeret, we don't need for this deck. Andoril. Equip creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. If you have the city's blessing, put 2. Oh. That is a lot of power to be putting on stuff. A lot of power. Mjolnir, we don't need. What else came out this year? What cards came out this year that might be good for this deck? So I've got the Assassin's Creed stuff. A lot of the Assassin's Creed stuff is in, which is good. Do we need Hammer of Nazan? It's good, but it's not entirely necessary with all the other free equips. Maybe Pile? Visions of Phyrexia, maybe Pile. Though I do think that just like straight card draw is helpful to keep around. Other Andoril? Are there 2? Oh boy, why is that not spelled correctly? Where'd that go? Oh, I think I got it. It's because there's a bunch of... Oh, or I spelled it wrong. And my eyes can't see that because it's too small. Flame of the West. Creature attacks. Create 2 tapped white spirits. Creature is legendary. Create 2 of those tokens that are tapped and attacking. In 2013, this would have been a really good card for the deck, right? Like, by today's standards, you need to be doing a lot. And this doesn't quite get me there. The bodies are cool, but, like, not going to be overpowering. And, like, we're kind of just at the point of the game where everything you do needs to be overpowering. So, that's disappointing. Yeah, so, I think, where did that Andoril go? Did I already pull it out? I don't know. Great Sword going in the maybe pile. Embercleave is a tricky card. Like, yeah, putting Double Strike on Aurelia is a really good time, but the 6 mana of Embercleave can be a bit... I mean, Embercleave does just make people dead. Excalibur is definitely worth trying. I mean, if Aurelia's in play, it's going to be very cheap. Okay, yeah. What other cards came out this year that we need to care about? I guess the first thing I can do is... go here, just go to EDH Rec and see what's happening over here. I'll start with Cassandra. Aurelia's EDH Rec is always like a mess. Aurelia is one of the most like flexible creatures ever printed. There's so many different things you can do with that deck that the EDH Rec for it is never like overly helpful. A lot of times you'll see a ton of angels. Other times you'll see like the, I don't know, like Hainware Garrison type cards. All right, see what we got here. Flash, when this equipment enters, you may attach it to target creature you control. That creature gains hexproof and indestructible. Equipped creature gets 2/0 and has flying. Huh. That's a cute little protection effect, huh? Hexproof and indestructible? You have my attention. Or is this stuff can go in another pile. So that is very interesting. What's this? Untimely malfunction. Destroy target artifact. Change the target of a spell or an ability with a single target. That's a good Sunforger card. That is a really good Sunforger card. Spear of Leonidas is in the deck. Ooh, the Caduceus. The Caduceus is interesting. I have not really been able to play it a ton. Mithril Code is indestructible, right? Flash indestructible. Enters attached to a creature you control. Legendary creature. Creature is indestructible. Yeah, I think we can give that a shot. I think we can give that a shot. This is telling you. Put that in the maybe pile. Let's go back over here. Forge Anew should be in this deck. That card is insane. Yep, this is already in. Caduceus. Creature has lifelink. As long as you have 30 or more life, a creature has +5/+5 and indestructible and prevent all damage that would be dealt to this creature. That's a lot of good effects. The problem is that if you don't have 30 or more life, that's sort of when it becomes tricky. Overpowering attack. Shram is a card that I need to run more, to be honest with you. I have undervalued Shram consistently over the years for these style of decks, and today is the day where we stop doing that. Is it already in the deck? Oh, he's already in the deck. Ha ha! Already in the deck. Love that. Sigarda's Aid's interesting, too. Auras and equipment with flash. When an equipment enters, you may attach a target creature you control. Pro white gets weird with that, I remember. Hey, Ante. How's it going? Brotherhood of Regalia. I gotta look at it. I remember reading it once. Don't remember what it does, though. Let us find out. Quick creature has Ward 2, is an assassin, and 2 its other types, and can't be blocked. Equipped legendary creature. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. All right, so here's the dilemma we run into with this, is that on Aurelia has flying, and if you put, like, any equipment on Aurelia that has either protection or trample or whatever, right? Like, Aurelia's probably getting through. The issue is that, like, a large part of the game is played without Aurelia in play at this point, right? So what you're doing is, you know, you're going to be using your Shrams and your Rayavs and stuff like that. And that might be the place where this makes a lot more sense. So we're talking about can't be blocked and has cheap equipped to a legendary creature and Ward 2. It's a maybe. Strong maybe. Nazgul Battle Mace. I feel like that one's not going to fit the deck, but I'll take a look at it anyway. I don't remember everything that it does. Where is it? That's Gold Battle Mace. Equipped creature has Menace, Death Touch, Annihilator 1, and whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card on the battlefield under your control unless they pay 3 life. The pay 3 life makes it like, For 5 and 3, it's just a lot. So this is of like relatively similar cost to Argentum Armor, and I would rather just run Argentum Armor. It's kind of a high mana type thing. We don't care about the Menace or the Death Touch that much. Annihilator 1 isn't... Depends on who you're attacking, but a lot of times probably isn't going to be that backbreaking. And they can just pay life, which I guess, paying life with Aurelia is good, so you get life totals lower. Yeah, I don't know. Just it's not doing enough for me. If it was like cheaper, it does cool things, but it's just like, I don't know. If we cared about the Death Touch for some reason, I'd be a lot more interested in it, but we don't really. So, Bladehold the War Whip. I got to read that one again too. I know I've seen it. Equip abilities you activate of other equipment cost 1 less. That is always nice. Creature has Double Strike. Double Strike is also good. That's a maybe pile. We do have a couple instances of Double Strike, at least. I know we have Rayav, we have Embercleave. When I was driving home tonight, I was thinking, like, do we want Halvar in the deck? Maybe it's time that Halvar has made its way. Yeah, I'll put Halvar in the maybe pile. For those who've just joined, by the way, we are rebuilding Weapons of War, and if you have cards that you want to suggest, please feel free to put them in the chat, because, again, particularly with the newer stuff, because I have not kept up on things that have come out, particularly in the last, 6 months. I think I did okay-ish up till, up till the Assassin's Creed set. I know I definitely missed some things, but... yeah. Yeah, Halvar is an unbelievably strong card. And I've had versions of this deck that don't have it, but which seems that seems incorrect. But also, the game plays so fast now that a 4-drop and trying to get a 4-drop equipped can feel so slow. Now, with Mana Crypt gone, it might feel differently. It might feel very different. Yeah, way too many sets to keep track of the new toys, for sure. I just, I cannot keep up. Use Bladehold in Nahiri, works really well since it makes a creature too. Yeah, that's a thing to think about. Oh, what's the other one? The War Plate? Is that what it is? And maybe we don't need the War Plate because we do have Aurelia. Aurelia takes care of a lot of your extra combat needs. Hexplate, I think that's the one. Hexplate Wallbreaker, there we go. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Whenever equipped creature attacks for the first time this turn, untap. Yeah, I don't feel like it does enough for this deck. We've got Aurelia and we've got Waves of Aggression, and those are basically probably the best extra combats, at least for what we're doing. Blacksmith's Talent from Bloomburrow. Is that the protection spell? There it is. No, it is a saga. Enters, create a colorless equipment artifact named Sword with equip 1. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach target equipment you control to up to 1 target creature you control. During your turn, equipped creatures you control have double strike and haste. Oh, it's a class. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that does seem pretty good, doesn't it? It does seem pretty good. All right, we'll try this in the maybe pile. try that in the maybe pile. Class, not a saga. Yeah, that is an important distinction right there. Colossus Hammer is a magic card. It is, in fact, a magic card that I cannot spell. Colos? There's a U in there somewhere, I think. Maybe we'll just try hammer. There can't be that many hammers. Yeah, there's Colossus Hammer. Interesting that the creature loses flying, and that is like a relevant thing on Aurelia, but it does also have the ability to make people dead, and that's cool too. Yeah, this is one of those, like... Here's the thing too. All right, this is one of the things that like makes building this deck difficult, is like it's sort of which direction you take it in. In my mind, there's kind of this world where you go heavy with the swords of X and Y, and probably try to combo with like Hearth and Home and stuff like that. But like particularly like value with Feast and Famine and Sinew and Steel and stuff like that. And that's going to be like a very heavy like double strike and then Aurelia, and you get the 4-hit with the sword. Basically, we'll call it the 4-hit deck, right? And that's where you're trying to get like 4 hits with any of the swords of X and Y, and crazy stuff will probably happen when you do that. That's one way to go about it. The other is the free equip, like go heavy with the free equips, and then you talk about the big stuff: Colossus Hammer, Argentum Armor, maybe a Cauldra. That's kind of the other way to maybe think about it. And for the most part, I mean, it's kind of like what you want to do. Both can be very, very viable. I guess it's a question of what do I want to do, and I don't truly know. Because there's other things that I know that need to happen. Kellen the Fate-Blooded? Oh yeah, Kellen's in here. It's right here. Yeah, so... Because the other thing that needs to happen too is, like I said earlier, Aurelia is 6 mana, and a lot of times the critical mass turn is like turn 6 right now, which means if you have any plan to use Aurelia, means you need to make the game go longer than it's probably scheduled to go, right? So, that's going to be board wipes, that's going to be a little bit of blind obedience, stuff like that. Are there any, like... That's what we need. So, are there any cards that have come out that, like, really slow players down? Like, in the vein of Blind Obedience, but, like, maybe nastier, which is, might be a lot to ask, because Blind Obedience is pretty nasty. But, I think the thing that this deck is going to need more than anything else is slowing the game down so that no one else is running past you. Winter Moon, huh? Let's see what this one's all about. Oh yeah, okay. Players can't untap more than one non-basic land during their untap steps. That might be slowing it down a little too much. There are ways we could abuse that, but I'm not looking to go in the Winter Orb Light plan. Elish Norn is a magic card. Elish Norn is very much a magic card. Man, so that's where it gets tricky, is that like games are so fast that like here's what I envision. I envision looking at a hand that has Elish Norn and Embercleave in it, and then going, there's no way I can cast both of these in this game, right? That's sort of the issue that I'm worried about. And Deafening Silence is a good one. That might be Deafening Silence might be a winner. Yeah, so it's just like, Elish Norn not being a part of the plan and not having like a lot of synergy with other stuff. Like Elish Norn's extremely strong and great for, all kinds of havoc on the board. But I foresee that just like, because we're talking about all this stuff needing to happen on like turn 6 or turn 7, it just means that there's not a lot of time to be able to do that. I've been thinking a lot about this, how like those, because a few years back the game used to average like 8 or 9 turns, and now like that critical turn is turn 5, turn 6, and if you don't deal with the big player, then like they may not kill everyone, but they probably kill one player, or they spiral out of control so much that like you can't do anything about it. And whew, yeah, that just it puts a lot of pressure on what you can do at the top end of your deck. So Sarah Ascendant. Sarah Ascendant is a magic card. And Sarah Ascendant makes me think about the 3 mana Ranger, the Ranger Captain of Eos. It's the 3 mana one of Eos, because you can sacrifice that to prevent spells from being cast, and that is hugely helpful. Pip-Boy and Bureau Headmaster are the two other equipment ones that I can think of. What does Pip-Boy do? Is Pip-Boy on here, and do they print that? Pip. It is. Draw a card, then discard a card. So looting, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Untap 2 target lands. Ooh, that seems good. Pip-Boy is in. Oh yeah, Final Showdown. Final Showdown is a magic card. What's the other one? What's the extra combat? Great Train Heist or something? This is the extra combat that you can summon Forager. Untap all creatures you control. If it's your combat phase, there's additional combat phase. After this one, creatures you control gain 1/0 on first strike. Choose target opponent whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to that player. Oh, yeah, you can make some mana. We'll try it. We'll try it. I haven't really played with this since it came out. Reaver Cleaver is Reaver Cleaver's right here. We got that one. That one's insane. That is an insane magic card. There's days, I mean, yeah, depending on what you have, like the Reaver Cleaver can be better than a Feast and Famine. Like it can make more mana. Feast and Famine's pretty wacky too, but they're both insanely strong. Okay. How many free equips do we actually have, and are we going on the Argentum armor plan of, having some bigger equipment that we can free equip and, really drop the hammer? Okay. What does this one do? That just reanimates things attached to Denetha. What do we need? We need... I'm gonna call Fervent Champion half of a free equip. Like it's not. It's half of a free equip. It's not completely free, but let's see. And then is cost reduction. Fighter class is insane. What are the other free equips? Blacksmith talent we talked about. Arden is in here. Arden's at the bottom. It's just off the screen down here. Arden is also oh yeah, that is one of our free equips. Good thinking. Good thinking. This free equips, doesn't it? During your turn, you may activate the abilities. No, you may pay 0 rather than. Yep. Forgenew is a magic card. Arden. I'm gonna move Gearport Ether Grid to the maybe pile. I've tried so many times over the years to like make this be the thing that like gives us that control over the board that we so crave. And for the most part, I usually just never draw it at the right time. And that's always frustrating. High Noon is an interesting card. I'm going to take a look at that one. I whenever I saw that, I was playing something else a while back, and I saw that. I'm like, ooh, that's pretty wild. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Removal spell. That might be the thing we need to, like, slow the game down a little bit. I mean, if we're doing that, are we doing the, who's the Archon there? Archon of Aurelia? We doing that plan? What do you guys think? Feels like if we go High Noon, we also have to go Archon of Aurelia. Can't have one without the other. Good evening, fellow cardboard crack junkies. Make sure you guys hit the like button, by the way, because that helps more people see the show. Yeah, High Noon, extremely cool. We'll go dig out, what's his name? Archon of Aurelia. And again, that's that, like, if we ever actually want to use Aurelia, we need the game to slow down. Okay, I am going to delete most of these maybe cards. I'm going to leave the Visions of Phyrexia. I'm going to try to keep that one. Drawing cards is very helpful. Because the other thing I want to do, I want to resort by... Actually, no, I was trying to get the free equips, wasn't I? Okay, yeah. Let's get the free equips first, and then we'll resort by... CMC. That's card draw. That's another free equip. Astor is a lot of value. Oh, and equip cost 1. Whew. What a magic card. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of free equips. So free equip, free equip, free equip, free equip, free equip, free equip. That's what, 5 or 6 of them? And then 2 partial ones. Yeah, that makes things interesting. So I definitely want Argentum Armor if we have that many free equips. Definitely Argentum Armor. Are there any other good Staxy Archons that I'm not thinking of? Blazing Archon. No way we'll get the mana for that. Not with Dockside being gone. Fighter class is in here. It's right here. Oh yeah, we talked about Deafening Noon or Deafening Silence. So, fun story with like Deafening Silence and all the Rule of Law stuff is that like if you can get Stoneforge Mystic, you can just activate that ability and you get around the casting, which is cool. Which also, like, you know, if we're going deep on the stacks plan, Stonehewer Giant might also be our friend there as well. Don't need Argentum? I mean, I understand what you're saying. If you don't have a free equip, this card is unplayable, right? 6 and 6 is far too slow to be paying full price for. Totally get it. That said, Chainsaw, I gotta look up Chainsaw. That said, if you ever get a double attack off with this thing, like, it's more or less game ending. Like, I've seen games not end because of it, but like it's if no one answers it, the game's gonna end, right? Like sometimes it gets answered and that's a different story. But yeah, if they don't answer Argentum Armor, I mean even on the first creature, but like let alone on Aurelia. Eidolon of Rhetoric is another Rule of Law, but it is a vanilla 1/4. Yeah, I mean, it's a question of how deep do we... All right, All right, I'm gonna leave this up to you guys. Are we going deep on this? Like, are we gonna do the stacks and Argentum armor plan? Is that what we're doing? Because we could like go deep in that. I mean, it's probably worth testing out and like seeing how it plays. What'll probably happen is if I fire a game up after this, we'll not draw any of the new stuff and we'll not get to test it, and it will be very sad. Because that's always how these things. Testing cards in the 99 is super difficult if you don't have like a million tutors for them. Codsworth in the Fallout set. Let's see what he's all about. Commanders you control have Ward 2, like that. Mana for equipment spells, like that. Tap it. Target aura or equipment you control to a target creature. Activate. Oh, the sorcery. The sorcery. It does make mana, though. Yeah, that's interesting. It's a maybe pile for sure. The fact that it makes mana is cool. It does. It's not the best at any single thing that it does, but it does do a number of things, and that makes it interesting. Gideon's intervention. Oh boy. Are we ruining this deck? Are we destroying a perfectly good Voltron deck? Opponents can't cast spells with the chosen name. Ooh, that is interesting. Okay, so I have not played Gideon's Intervention. Has anyone in chat played Gideon's Intervention? And if so, like, tell me a story about its effectiveness, because I'm very curious. If we're going rule of law effects, the flash from Sigarda's Aid. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that is a good call for Sigarda's Aid there. Okay, Sigarda's Aid coming in. How many Sigardas are there now? Jeez. Why do I have to scroll so far? Never had to scroll this far before. Oh, right, Chainsaw. Okay. See what Chainsaw is all about. God, I've read so many cards. When Chainsaw enters, 3 damage up to 1 target creature. Whenever 1 or more creatures die, put a rev counter on it. Equipped creature gets X0. X is the number of rev counters on Chainsaw. Cool card. I don't think it's... It's not the best card for this deck. If there were like... If there weren't 4,000 other really good equipment, right, this would be a cool card. In 2013, this would be a cool card. Naming opponent's commander with the thing. Okay. Okay. Run Deafening, High Noon, and any of your enchantment tutors that can find them. Archon of Emeria is good, but you can't tutor it. Blood Moon. Blood Moon if we're looking to make friends. I mean, if that's the plan, let's get a Blood Moon. Are we going too far in this? Let me know if we're going too far. The other one, and this goes back to the Elesh Norn thing we talked about with the mana, is like if we have this many free equips, do we run a Cauldra? Do we run a Batter Skull? This Cauldra, not the other one. Right, these get better with free equips. You don't think heavy stacks is the way to go? Yeah, maybe we're getting carried away here. Funny story, though, since, you know, there are a ton of equipment in the deck. Blood Moon, you don't really care that they're all mountains, because half of your costs are colorless. How many deck cards in the deck list now? 110. We're at 110. Yeah, this is going to be a nightmare to whittle down. Did something rather fantastic last night. Animated Ristic study and kicked out a right of replication with Osier Talk. Oh my. Call a judge. How many? I don't even know how many copies that is. That sounds ridiculous. Blood Moon, good, yeah. Oh, Blood Moon. Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe we just give up the other ones and just run Blood Moon, right? Someone's gonna have to spend some time to deal with it, otherwise, no one's going anywhere. I think that's funny. Oh man, so much stuff, and we're at 110. I would love to add 3 more board wipes. That would make me feel great, but ain't no room for that. Look at inventory man. Yeah, inventory management is insane. That card is actually insane. I have yet to play it. I've read it a few times, and I'm just like, oh, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Bring that in. Hey, what's happening? Armored Sky Hunter is... I'm going to feel like too slow. Armored Sky. Yeah, Armored Sky Hunter is going to be a little too slow because it's an attack trigger where we have, like with Aster is an ETB and also gives you the equip cost 1. And, it's just doing more than the Sky Hunter. And, these are both 4-drops. You can only run so many 4-drops in this, right? This deck is just, it's crowded. It's already a very, very crowded deck. Yeah, Kellen's in here. Okay, I'm going to resort by CMC. Hopefully you guys can see everything a little bit better. Well, we have 27 3-drops. We're probably going to need to get rid of some of those. And I actually have, very few Swords of X and Y. You'd look more... Okay, yeah, the enchantments can be searched. The creatures are harder to search. That is very, very true. I will say Eidolon is an enchantment, so you can technically search for it. I guess we're going to want an Enlightened Tutor. That's a card I don't always run. I don't know. I just have, I don't mind Equipment Tutors because they're narrow. Enlightened Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Mystical Tutor, I don't know. They just, cards are kind of too good. I can't find it. Enlightened. There we go. Yeah, if I don't have to run these for a deck, I generally try not to. You just build Storm in paper. Yep. Kellen is also a very cool card. Man, if I had more time in the day, I would love to play some more Kellen because I really like my Sunforger deck with Kellen. That deck is very fun. Having guaranteed access to Sunforger is extremely cool. This is going to be a nightmare to... You like card draw over tutors? Yeah, the issue... Yeah, it depends on what you're doing, right? In Boros, your equipment tutors are generally better than your card draw, generally speaking, right? Because a lot of times you're talking about impulse draw here. So, the equipment's just kind of... Getting a specific thing that you need tends to be better, but sometimes you just need extra cards. That is the thing that happens too. Okay, there's way too many cards in this deck. Is there anything else? Anything else that's extremely cool that we think we should be having in this deck before we start really getting into cuts and trying to refine our plan? I do feel like our removal is weird, right? Our removal comes in the form of stuff like Argentum Armor, which isn't helpful in the early game. Jit. Is Fire and Ice in here? No Fire and Ice. I mean, I'd probably run Fire and Ice over Tenza. Tenza's fine, but doesn't blow me away. I also really like Sinew and Steel. Man, we're just building a Sword of X and Y deck. I really just like them all. It's hard to choose. Like in a perfect world, we would have the deck slots to run Beast and Famine, Fire and Ice, Hearth and Home, Sinew and Steel, and probably like Forge and Frontier. That's 5, and that is a lot of deck slots. That is a lot of deck slots. Forge and Frontier. Forge and Frontier is really interesting. Like, it's it has a lot more variance than the other ones. The other ones, you kind of know what you're getting. Forge and Frontier, you don't necessarily know. Sometimes you hit like just a bunch of lands and you get a bunch of land plays, and that's cool. You don't care for Batterskull? Um, that could be true. That could be true. Batterskull's interesting in that it is powerful, right? That's a lot of life link, a lot of life gain. Plus the creature just gets big, and Batterskull is really good at protecting you because your creature is big. They probably can't attack into it because of the vigilance, and you gain a lot of life with the life link. It doesn't just end the game, but it makes attacks into you generally not profitable. Can you swap the JIT for the new JIT? We had that earlier. The new JIT is like pretty underwhelming compared to this thing that can just like dominate the game. So yeah, we're probably not going to run the new JIT. It is a cool card. It's a cool card, but it's more of a utility card where this JIT is like hard removal and also pumps your creature and kills opponents. It does like literally everything you want in a Voltron deck. The other one, like I said earlier, the newer JIT is cool if you have like interesting lands that you need to untap. That's like a reasonable place to use that. Like again, Cradle's Coffer, Maze of Ith or something. Just any utility land, any cool utility land, or any land that makes a lot of mana. Nick those. That's gonna be where you really want that. Batterskull is expensive. I'm not disagreeing with you on the Batterskull, and also the fact that like the equip cost is only 3, so a lot of it is actually like paid cost on the Batterskull is not the best, but it does make a body when it comes in. It does make. I'm gonna try to keep it. I'm gonna try to. I mean, we're 12 cards over, so we have to cut a bunch of things, but. Embercleave might have the same issue in that, like, Embercleave, oh god, it's so good, but like, it is also very clunky. Like, it makes people dead, but it's also like 5 to 6 mana usually. Hey ho, Batterskull's gotta go. Hey ho, let's go. It can't be blocked. A target creature can't block. Yeah, target creature can't block isn't awful, but Ferocification will pull its weight. Let's see what that's all about. Feroz. Let's see if this hopefully gets us where we want to go. You've never gotten Embercleave to work in EDH? That is an interesting statement. I have killed many people with Embercleave in EDH. I don't know that there's an easier way to kill people. I mean, I guess I play Voltron decks, so it's like kind of my thing, right? But like, yeah, no, I mean, I find it boring in its efficiency of how it kills people, right? Like, it's like, oh, well, there's an Embercleave. Guess you die now. Even like there's been games where it's like, oh, I didn't mean to kill you, but there's an Embercleave, so you're just dead, right? Ferocification. At the beginning of your combat, it's an enchantment. Creature gets 2/0 until end of turn. Oh, that's 4/0, isn't it? Target creature you control gains menace. We need to change commander to like 300 cards. I just want to run all these cards. And Sunforger, I think there's one in here. Yeah, Sunforger's in here. We'll look at the targets after. God, like, we are in the world now where, like, Sunforger's still such an extremely powerful card, but we are in the world where, like, deck slots are so limited that, like, we may not run Sunforger. And, I mean, that's gotta be, with all those free equips, man. That seems like a mistake, but you know, I have cut Sunforger from a lot of decks because of the stress it puts on your deck slots to have all the stuff and do all the things. And also there's a component of like, because I play a lot of different decks, or like I even worse, because I play a lot of like variations of similar decks, you have to remember what's in the deck. And you're like, oh, is that Boros Charm in here? I don't remember. It's particularly worse in paper. It's not like as bad on MTGO, but like, yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, I don't run Sunforger everywhere. I mean, it was my primary win con for like, I don't know, the first 2 or 3 years of this channel, right? So I've definitely done a lot of Sunforgering and still do some occasionally, but uh and it's not that it's bad, it's just more of like a deck slots, and sometimes you just want to do new things, right? Not that Batter's Skull's particularly new. I really want to see you play Captain America. Yeah, that was the other one I was thinking about um building tonight, but I didn't want to get like super far into it just because like we'll probably take a little while with that one, and like it's already getting a little late over here. But can you send me a Fringe CEDH list and it runs Sunforger? Yes, I would love to see that actually. Do you have my Discord or anything like that? I forget where we've communicated. Okay, yeah. All right, last chance. Are there? I really want to need another maybe pile. This thing is cool looking. This is, it's a red enchantment though. So if you're running pro red swords, those all get cleaned up. Okay, cool. Yeah, message me on Discord with that list. Um, I feel like we've talked on Discord. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, yeah, this would be a fun to pair with Citadel Siege, which does like kind of the same thing, right? And then you're getting 4 per combat, and that's +8 on your second combat. That sounds like a great time. Target creature you control gains menace and haste. Haste, huh? God, that's tempting. That is tempting. Well, we have way too many cards. Let's start with 5-drops. Wait, no. Let's sort by mana value. Well, I guess, are there any other cards that we are missing? Because we have too many already, but is there anything cool and new? Are there any equipment creatures that we've missed? Like, have there been like cool Brunor type creatures in the past couple sets? The main one that I can think of is Cassandra, who is extremely cool. What's in the Fallout set? I don't even know. Can I search for that? I feel like there might be interesting creatures there. Where's Fallout? Oh, let's do this. No, these aren't the sets I want. Bureau Headmaster, I have Citadel. Citadel Siege can also be used on Dragon's mode to slow things down. Yeah, Citadel Siege is a really flexible card, and it makes me sad when I don't get to run it, which is most of the time. Like, albeit that is most of the time. But yeah, Citadel Siege is. I've had games, and it hasn't happened a lot, but there have been games where I've just completely locked the game down with dragons, and you're just like, I can't die. This is great. Yeah, such a cool card. Just like the format has kind of moved on without it, and it's still powerful. Like, it's still good. Obviously, dragon. I think in an average deck, Dragon's mode is probably. Is it working? I think it's working again. Hopefully it's working again. See if I can get my password right. Oh no, did we hiccup again? No, I'm still here. Okay. Yay. Hopefully this deck saved. I'm going to be real sad if it didn't. Gonna be real sad if it didn't. Sometimes it gets weird if you don't basically leave and go you need to leave and go somewhere else in the Magic Online application. Will not be happy if we just lost all of that. Oh, this is the one I want. Cross your fingers. Okay, cool. Everything's still there. Love that. Love that for us. What else do we... Legit question. Are we at a place where we need an Ugin the Spirit Dragon? So, not that one, the other one. Still not that one. Or, when you think about what's going on in a game of Commander, Ugin generally solves most of the problems. The fact that we'll have a lot of colorless equipment and a few colored equipments that might get cleaned up in Ugin. I'm going to try to get this Ugin in this deck. Cassandra Eagle Beaver. Yeah, all right. Okay, yep. Yeah, Farewell is a nasty Magic card, too. Farewell is extremely nasty. That's one that I generally try to avoid also, depending on what I'm doing, because it is just heinously strong. The fact that you can choose just yeah. Everyone else is probably getting hit harder than this than you are if you're the one casting it. It can get really lopsided in how it hits people. Even just even certain decks really use their graveyards, and Farewell just decimates all of that. Armory Paladin. Oh, I really want to Lux it on Warhammer. You don't even know how much I want to Lux it on Warhammer in here, but the problem is that Caduceus and Lux it on Warhammer live in a very similar spot of the deck, and I think the choice you're always going to be faced with is which one of those do you run. Armory Paladin, 3 mana, 3/3 trample. Whenever you cast an equipment or aura spell, exile a top card to your library. You may play that card. That seems legit. That's card draw. Card draw has been a weakness of this deck. Are there any other equipment cards in the Fallout set? Because I don't know that set particularly well. Trouble in Pairs. I like Trouble in Pairs. It is a very good card. But this deck is already it's a 4-drop that just kind of sits there. And it's a very good 4-drop that just kind of sits there. But I don't know. I guess because it's only ever card draw, right? Trouble in Pairs. Also stops extra turns. You never know when you're going to need that. So this is only ever card draw. As good as this is, I think it might be clunky. Ooh, Mabel. Mabel's interesting. Mabel's very interesting. I need to build that Mabel deck. It's just the Heir to Cragflame is a super cool card. Let's see. We get a 1/1 Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. God, that's so much stuff. The one thing that I have, the one issue that I have, like, those are amazing keywords. Like, those keywords are fantastic. Yeah, like, we're so, most of the equipment in the deck either values real hard or wins the game. Like, that's kind of the two things that we have. And this doesn't especially do any of those. It's extremely cool, but, like, I don't know, putting Heir to Cragflame on, like, Fervent Champion doesn't get me excited. Decent on Bruner. Yeah, maybe we're gonna go through this exercise. We're going through this exercise. We're gonna look at, so on Aurelia, it's pretty interesting, but more so because of the double strike trample. It's pretty cool, and vigilance. On a pure steel paladin, it's fine. It's not blowing me away. I don't think Mabel makes the cut here. So cool though, such a cool card. Sliver Shroud costume and pre-war formal wear. Let's see here. Oh, nope, that wasn't a good idea to search. It is saved now, so I think we're good. Silver Shroud costume. Flash attached to creature that control can't be blocked. Not bad. Not bad. We've already got one of those type of effects, and the one we have gives us indestructible and hexproof, which I think is going to be stronger than Shroud. So, is Mask of Memory in here? It should be. Maybe it got deleted. I don't know. Add a Mask of Memory. Definitely can't run without it. That is the card draw. Mask of Memory. Boom. What are we at? 117. Oh boy. All right. Yay. Yay. How are we feeling about the stacks plan from earlier? Are we giving up on the stacks plan because that'll free up like 4 or 5 deck slots? All right. First one is Cauldron. Keep in mind, we have about 5 or 6 free equips in this deck. We have, as far as I know, I think one. We have one cheat the cost thing in Stoneforge Mystic, so like you don't have to pay full price for the main cast of the equipment. There might be more that I'm missing. What does this one do? No, that one puts him in the hands. You still got to cast him. Okay, yeah. So that being the case, are we cutting Cauldron complete? Oh, Skull Clamps. Yeah, Skull Clamp should be in here too. Yeah, starting at the top end. Match the turn 6/7 plan instead of trying to slow down enough to play and equip Aurelia. Cauldron kind of meh. Yeah, okay. Cauldron's out. Excalibur, I do think is really worth testing. I have not tested it on Aurelia. I mean, if you get it on Aurelia, that's kill. I mean, with nothing else, you can kill a player, right? With double strike or something, you can kill a lot of players. So, yeah, Excalibur's probably got to stay. Ooh, really mixed feelings on this Embercleave. Like, yeah, it's so good and it just kills people so efficiently, but it is clunky. Cauldron needs artifact synergy. Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Is this the deck where we cut Sun Titan? God, I don't want to do that. I mean, Sun Titan brings back like everything in this deck. I don't think we can do that. What with Denitha? It's an ETB, so like, I mean, in theory, you could go something like Denitha, get your Hearthenhome back, and then you would need haste or just wait a turn, but then keep blinking Denitha to get more stuff back. That might be Christmas Land, but I mean, if you did that even like twice, you're probably gonna win the game. Cut the Embercleave to test other things. I like it. That's what we're doing. Embercleave gone. How many actual board wipes do we have? That's 1, 2, 3, and I think a Settle the Wreckage. Okay, yeah. That is reasonable. We cutting the Batterskull? I think we're cutting the Batterskull. Fervent Champion's in here. Love Fervent Champion. Do so much work with Fervent Champion. Denitha's good. Okay, Denitha we're keeping. Yeah, what keywords did she have? First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink. Yeah, God, that's good. Those are good. Yeah, tough to get rid of those. Okay, so the top end of our deck actually doesn't look awful. This feels about right. We're gonna get rid of this Batterskull. Ether Grid, yeah, I mean, Ether Grid is always a weird card, but like, I don't know, Ether Grid is just a weird card. I always try to make it work and it never really works. It's kind of how it goes. That's basically what Ether Grid does. Okay, let's move on to the 4-drops. So we've got the Wanderer. The Wanderer is an off-plan card, right? It's a piece of removal and it's protection, but it doesn't synergize with our plan. I do like to have... It's nice to have something that isn't just like more creatures and more equipment, right? It helps you solve some problems, but you know, the fact that we have Farewell, well, Farewell's going to hit like at least some of your own stuff. Ugin may or may not. Ugin probably cleans up your creatures. Spot removal versus board wipes, right? That's kind of what we're talking about. So I kind of want to keep that. We have, what, 8? 8 4-drops actually isn't that bad. I feel like this deck used to be worse about that. Is there any graveyard hate that fits the theme? Yeah, we've got Farewell. We've got... Ugin is like, it's not graveyard hate, but the fact that it exiles means that, you know, the things you're blowing up don't come back. So, as far as like on theme, what does this thing do? No, that doesn't do that. I don't know that there is anything like that. Someone else let me know. Oh, Lion Sash. Here's the problem with Lion Sash. The problem with Lion Sash is that it is completely dependent on either the Reaver Cleaver or Feast and Famine. The way mana is going to work in this, I mean, God. It is good, though. It is good. Lion Sash. That is... You know, the Christmas Land is like you exile 5 things and get a bunch of counters, and then, you know, you like equip it to Aurelia, and then you go to town. All right, we got a lot of vote. We got a lot. Guys, I've not been running enough graveyard removal for the last 7 years. Do you really expect me to start now? The thing that I am weak to 100% of the time is graveyards. So the problem with the Rest in Peace is that we do use our graveyard a little bit, less than most other decks. But with Voltron decks, like, I mean, with most decks, like, there are certain things that are critical to your game plan. And if those end up in your graveyard, you want to be able to get them back, right? We have Denitha, we have Sun Titan. Let's say Hearth and Home goes in the graveyard, right? Hearth and Home can be brought back by Denitha or Sun Titan, and then those re-trigger once you hit with the Hearth and Home, right? So you get this nice little loop that can bring back your entire board, basically. Just throwing Scavenger Grounds, yeah, that might be the surprise. There isn't a when a quick creature deals combat damage, it exiles the player's graveyard. Yeah, that is surprising, right? In some ways, it's like, if you put it on something like one of these, choose a mode type equipments, it could be pretty interesting. By itself, that's probably fairly underwhelming, but Abstergo Entertainment? I don't know what that is. What is that? Let's see. Mana. Make one mana of any color. Exile. Return up to one target historic card from your graveyard to your hand. Then exile all graveyards. It's interesting. It is colorless mana. In a pinch. We'll try it. Probably use one more land in the deck. I'd probably cast something for free in today's power creep world. Maybe cut one of the. Yeah, we'll get to the 3-drops eventually. There's 29 3-drops, so we're gonna have a million of those to get rid of. I think we might be excuse me. I think we might be cutting Sunforger because I'm looking at cutting this Return to Dust, and once Return to Dust is gone, like, the main things you need with Sunforger are Teferi's Protection, like a Settle the Wreckage, and, some sort of Return to Dust. I'm looking at cutting Return to Dust because we do have artifact removal in some other places. I feel bad about it, but, like, Nautiloid Ship. Let's see. It depends on what I'm doing. When we're talking about Return to Dust, Crush Contraband, or Heliod's Intervention. For Sunforger decks, Return to Dust or Crush Contraband. It sort of depends on what you prefer. Like, Crush Contraband is better timing in that you can do it in an opponent's turn, but you can't ever hit. Like, sometimes there are just two nasty enchantments, and, like, I don't like not being able to hit both nasty enchantments. Enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may put a creature card exile with Nautiloid Ship onto the battlefield under your control. That, and so, like, it's flying, and if you ever attack twice in a turn, that's probably game winning. I feel like that's better than Lion Sash because it's not going to eat up as much of your mana. Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, Boromir is a really good card. Boromir, I've been wanting to build Boromir as a commander. I mean, I haven't been playing that much, but it is one of the ones that I, like, noticed, and I'm like, ooh, that looks really cool. Yeah, I think we're going with the ship. That seems like a really nice piece of. That's the graveyard removal we want. I mean, and we can blink it. If it's a creature, we can blink it with Hearth and Home. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, trigger it twice with Aurelia and untap the creature that crewed it. Okay. You have my attention, and, not that it's a huge deal, but light synergy with Astor. Love that. And Shram. Probably maybe one or two other things if I'm not mistaken. Let's cut the Return to Dust. We'll cut the we cutting the Wanderer? I think we're cutting the Wanderer. I think it's just going to be too clunky. It is a cool card, but I know we need to get some rituals in the deck. Those actually become kind of important with how quick things are. I guess all right, let's get into the big one. This is the 3-drop column, and this one is just going to be ridiculous because this is where, like, most of our equipment lives, and a lot of the mana ramp, and a lot of creatures, and a lot of all the stack stuff. here we get. You know what? Before we do that, I'm gonna get another beverage. I'll be right back. All right. Okay. Yeah. Archaeomancer's map is fantastic. Archon of Emeria is part of that stacks thing we were trying to do. Maybe we're cutting that. Are we reducing that stacks plan that we talked about? Rituals might be a bad idea with your one spell per turn theme. Yeah, they certainly are with that. I do feel like our one spell per turn theme is gonna get squashed here pretty good in a second. I don't know. Let's see. We'll cut the Archon. We're at 113. We're actually not doing too bad. We do need to cut a lot of 3 drops, though. Celestial Armor, I really want to try. Codsworth, I was kind of on the fence about. It's worth trying. So it's probably worth the test. Eidolon, I'm going to cut. I think we're off of this major stacks plan. I do want to keep Blood Moon. Because that's the type of thing that's going to be like... It's more lopsided. Like, it should, in theory, hurt opponents more than it's hurting us. So I think that one's worth at least trying one time. Ferocification. Menace, Haste, the 2-0. God, that's so many good things. So many good things. Ether Grid, I am going to cut the Ether Grid. Armory Paladin, that's Impulse Draw. I like that. The Blade Whip is Double Strike. Bitterthorn, too good. Honor Warren, how many legendary permanents do we have? There's probably quite a few at this point. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably just got to stay. Like, I want Mithril Coat. Flash, Indestructible, and, yeah. I think Sunforger's coming out. And there's like, you could definitely build it where you keep it in, but you have to be able to budget those deck slots. And we are not able to do that in this moment. Fire and Ice is kind of the weak one, but it does give us board control. A little bit more board control. You can... In theory, you should be getting either a double strike hit or an Aurelia hit, so you can do 4 damage to a target, which is nice. It's also card draw. But single hits of Fire and Ice can be pretty underwhelming. Man, Deflecting Swat is a powerful card. See what chat's saying. Why Hainware Battlements over Flamekin? I probably have both. At least I should have both. Maybe I don't have both. The only issue with... I do like the colored mana on Flamekin, but it does come in tapped. Oh, I know why. I probably cut one for Slayer's Stronghold, because that is like a lot of that sort of effect. That's probably what happened, would be my guess. Is Halvar good? Yeah, like... Yeah, I mean, Halvar is insanely good. Halvar is the type of card that, like, can just take over a game. So put it this way. I had a Halvar deck for a minute somewhere. I had Halvar, one Sword of X and Y, and an Inquisitor's Flail, and I was looking at killing opponent on, like, turn, I don't know, was it 5 or something like that? And I think I made the choice not to do it, but I'm just like, oh my god, that's so aggressive, right? Yeah, Halvar is like can take over the game levels of power in the right deck. Arena of Glory, huh? Unless you control a mountain that exert Arena of Glory, add red red. If that mana is spent on a creature spell, it gains haste. Yeah, that seems cool. We'll try that one. That seems like you still don't like Ferocification. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. It's I mean that's a lot of great effects. But yeah, we need to cut 3 drops. We need to cut 3 drops very badly. Um, and I would love to get a Durgar Hedge Mage in the deck to get rid of more enchantments, but yeah, Ferocification is going to be better in like the non-equipment version of Aurelia. Um, but I still like I could still see it doing a ton of work in this deck. $24 3 drops. Yeah, that's still probably too many. Let's move over to 2 drops real quick. See if there's like easy cuts here. Um, maybe we keep High Noon. We'll just use the one of these effects. All these 2 drops are actually insane. Those aren't going anywhere. Blackblade Reforged, Boros Signet, Brothers Regalia. Creature as ward, can't be blocked. I do think that this is very helpful for all of our cheap creatures early in the game, because our cheap creatures early in the game can be blocked fairly easily. So I would like to try that out one time. Conqueror's Flail helps you against spells. I mean, it makes it so people can't cast during your turn, and that's kind of a big deal. Animus, Talisman, Tome of Legends, Jite. Yep, doesn't look like there's... High Noon would be like basically the only cut at 2 mana. Honor Worn Shaku might be not strong enough. I mean, let's take a look. So it cares about legendaries. I don't think any of those are that one's legendary. Oh, there's the other thing. So if you have a Shadow Spear and Luxon on Warhammer also, like, the mana costs are different, but they do the same thing more or less. This one has the permanents your opponents control lose indestructible business. But yeah, Shadow Spear and Luxon on Warhammer tend to live in the same space, as similar to Caduceus. They're all kind of competing for the same slot. No Esper Sentinel? Honestly, just forgot it. Esper Sentinel's you know what? A Voltron deck is probably the better place for Esper Sentinel, because you can pump its power up and then they can't afford to pay. Sometimes when it's only one, they just pay for it, and that's very annoying. Would you say the Blacksmith's talent is overpriced for what it does? That could be possible. So we pay 1, and we get the colorless equipment named Sword. Yeah, that effect's like not the best. It's +1/+1, which is like okay. I mean, for 1 mana, whatever. It gets interesting when you pay the second for the beginning of combat. Ooh. So it's the beginning of combat on your turn, which, keep in mind, that means you can do it twice a turn with Aurelia. You know, it's the type of thing where, like, yeah, Reaver Cleaver and Feast and Famine make it a lot better, for sure. I'd like to try it, quite honestly. Like, I can definitely see your point, but I haven't played it. It does look really cool. So, being that we're Okay, since we've kind of cut back on the stacks, I think we can get rid of Sigarda's A because that was more of a plan to get around all of our rule of law effects. We cut the Eidolon, right? Yeah, I think we cut the Eidolon. Yes, okay, so we can cut that thing. Um, Deafening Silence, I think. Oh, you don't know card? Oh, you know what we should be running? Not Deafening Silence. What's the other one? Aethersworn Canonist. Same idea, but more better for us. More better? Is that a word? Canonist. For the love of God. Apparently, we're just never going to find this magic card. Cannon. Let's try that. Really? Is it a single N? Yeah, a single N. Yep, there it is. Found it. Yeah, this is probably the best stacks piece for our deck, honestly, because we can just keep casting all of our equipments and our opponents get slowed down. Blacksmith skill might be very medium in this type of no like so with Voltron decks now, if your stuff stays in play, you win the game. And actually that brings a good point of isn't there a newer Leonin Abunus? So I thought I saw someone when I was doing something recently. We have a Leonin Abunus, which protects all your stuff, which is fantastic. Is there a newer version of this that I feel like is better? I know there's there's Indomitable Archangel. Indomitable Archangel does have an issue with you can't equip things to artifact creatures, which can happen sometimes. So the deal with High Noon is that where'd High Noon go? The deal with High Noon is that you use it for like a couple turns, and then you probably pop it at an end step at when it's most beneficial to you, and then you kind of like go on your big turn. That's how you should play it. But yeah, I get what you're saying, right? If you're trying to like protect Aurelia, and you know, High Noon could bite you. It's a thing that could happen. No, the stacks. Yeah, cutting down on the stacks. Colossus Hammer is good. But, I mean, we have so many free equips. We probably actually need a few less free equips, if I'm being completely honest with you. At least, like, maybe one less. Maybe we don't. I don't know. Because a lot of them all kind of do a second thing also. It's not like the only thing they do. Giving up flying is definitely a thing. And that might be the thing that gets me to cut it now. Where it is good is if you get it on just like Bruno or something early, then that's all ridiculous. It's really good on your already ground creatures. It's like probably a little less good on Aurelia. Think of all the free equips as very specialized mana rocks. Sort of. I don't tend to think of them that way, but sure. Hammer should be cut. Which hammer are we talking about? Oh, Colossus Hammer. Yeah, okay. Yeah, with all the free equips though. So like the problem is we have Argentum armor and a lot of free equips, and like now, and it's like you're always gonna run some number of free equips, but like Hammer's like the most busted card in the deck in a lot of ways. Yeah, there is that, right? Right? We'll try to keep it for now. Great Train Heist we can probably live without. Cool card. Sunforger's gone, so we don't need a Sunforger. Oh, we have Final Showdown in the deck, too. Okay. Let's go move this to the pile of removal over here. So we're probably getting a little heavy on board wipes at this point. I always feel better when I have a Settle the Wreckage up, but Sunforger got cut, so I think we're cutting Settle the Wreckage. Get to cut a lot of cards if we cut Hammer and Argentum Armor, but it was also kind of what we were building toward. So I'm not super motivated to do that in this moment. Final Showdown is not a board wipe 90% of the time. All creatures lose all abilities until end of turn. Oh yeah, you could like probably fog a little bit with that, or do some weird stuff with that. Choose a creature you control. It gains indestructible. Oh, protection spell. Yep. And then destroy all creatures. Okay. I see your point. I see your point. Yeah, I mean, as much as I like having Settled the Wreckage, it's planned. The main reason you have it is for Sunforger because, like I said, with this deck, our mana is going to be clunky trying to get this stuff in, and holding up 4 mana, particularly with how fast the game is difficult. All right, 107. We're not that far away. What does that mean? So that means like probably 2 cards from each of these columns would get us very close. If you want more of a Sunforger package, cut Austere and leave Settle the Wreckage. I'm not going to do that now because then, like, if you bring Sunforger back in, there's at least 5 cards that, you need after that. So it just gets very, very convoluted. So crowded. Actually, also, Sulphurous Blast. Yep, that's a Sunforger card. Man, I do really like having Sulphurous Blasts around. That it solves so many early game problems. Like all those little value bits just get cleaned up. How many lands at the moment? 35 lands. I think 1 flip land. So yeah, 36. Actually, not bad. How do I like Vandal Blast? I like Vandal Blast in mono red. I don't care for it in Boros. Boros, you have Austere Command and Farewell, and that, same thing but better kind of thing. So in mono red, absolutely Vandal Blast. What else? We're at 19 creatures. Is actually like a very good creature count. Let's count up the equipment because sometimes the equipment counts get real weird once I start cutting. Like at one point 5 minutes ago, we had probably a lot more, but now there may be significantly less. 1, 2. No, come on. Come on. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 17, 18, 19. That's actually a pretty good equipment count, but we do have 6 cards to cut. God, I really want a Forge and Frontier. Forge and Frontier. Yeah, Forge and Frontier can be really good. Man, I want Sinew and Steel too. Eh. Eh. All of these cards are so good. Ah. Being that we have more card draw these days, I think we can get rid of Visions of Phyrexia. How are we getting rid of High Noon? Is High Noon going away? Cassandra and Spear is ridiculous, right? The Spear gives you double strike. Cassandra gives you, when it finds the Spear, and 2, what does it say? Whenever a creature you control with legendary equipment attached to it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, right? So that's card draw and tutoring, and just, that's a lot. Cassandra's really good. Legion Leadership. I gotta look that one up. Until end of turn, target creature gains double strike. Let's see. Double target creature's power and it gains first strike. Solid card. The issue we're going to run into is protection from red and white. Not a bad card. And, like, if I were building on, like, a budget, something I might consider. The problem is when you have, like, no budget, right? Just, you know, this is double strike, and, you know, Embercleave got cut, but, you know, in theory, Embercleave, stuff like that. But, yeah, solid card. This is a solid card, and you can, like, definitely kill people with it. Okay, so let's try to cut 2 cards from each column. I'm tempted to cut High Noon. Everything else, just so ridiculously good. Protection from red and white also works against your equipment that fall off. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a thing too. We should do a little double check on colored equipment because we've probably got a few of those. Man, Sarah Ascendant's good, but like if you, I'm gonna cut Sarah Ascendant. Sarah Ascendant, it's really good if you're above 30 life. It's like pretty bad if you're below. And we don't have like a lot of ways to change our life total, so like it is a very good card, and it does just do like 30 damage to a player before they kill it sometimes, and put you at like 70 life, but what are we down? We're down to about 18 equipment now. Your nightmare is honestly trying to cut a deck down to 100 cards with a bunch of people watching? Yeah. Yeah. You'd cut SWAT since we cut Sunforger. I mean, SWAT is powerful on its own. Oh, Aurelia is 6 mana, though. She does not come in. Yeah, okay. Cutting SWAT. I mean, and that, like, that's probably incorrect, but we do have other protection effects in the deck. Like, we added the, yeah, we've added other stuff. So, the fact, like, if Aurelia was a 3-drop, then, you know, SWAT makes a lot more sense. But she does come down late. Yeah, no, I believe me. Like SWAT is an incredibly good Magic card. Totally understand that, but we need to cut things that aren't like the core of our deck, and it's getting difficult. Probably cut a land. Minas Tirith is gonna be ambitious in this deck, I think. Yeah, we'll cut Minas Tirith. $102. If we're not as heavy on the stacks plan, what do we still have? We still have High Noon and Blood Moon. Okay, well, we'll keep the Enlightened Tutor then. Um, let's see, 102. What are we cutting? Mithril Coat. It's good. I like protection, but it does have flash. I mean, you can basically play it as a spell. It's probably too good. It's probably too good. Um, Jit is a very complicated Magic card in these decks. So the range of Jit is sometimes it does nothing, sometimes it completely dominates the game and no one can do anything. So it's this very wide range of performance, and it typically met like once you get 4 counters on it, that's when it like really kind of is a nightmare to deal with. 2 counters, a lot of things survive, and then they probably try to get it off the board before it becomes an issue. But yeah, once you get 4 counters on it, then that kills like, I don't know, 60-70% of commanders. And right, just at instant speed. Cut Pip-Boy. What does Pip-Boy do again? Draw a card, then discard a card. Looting is okay. Untap 2 target lands. Man, that's interesting. It's kind of like free mana. I guess that makes it weird ramp. It's weird ramp. Yeah, I guess we cut Pip-Boy. Um, when we cut Shaku, I mean, let's take a look. So, how many legends do we have left? 1 legendary, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the Animist, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. There's 22 pieces for it in there. I mean, that's very good, right? Inspiring Statuary. Yeah, Inspiring Statuary is a weird card. It is mana, though, and We don't have a lot of ways to generate like excess mana. Like we have some of the signets and stuff, and that's cool. But I guess we also have the Animist and Hearth and Home. Those are pretty good. But yeah, Inspiring Statuary is one that I honestly just want to see more. I've played it sometimes, and sometimes it's really good. Other times it gets a little weird. Um, what are we getting rid of? Maybe Ugin's ambitious? Nonsense. I mean, maybe it is, but I bet if you play it, it's probably going to win the game. We'll cut Ugin, even though I really want Ugin. All right, one more cut. What is it? A protection piece. The protection's what keeps your stuff from dying, though. Let us see. Like I talked about earlier, the thing with these decks and like Voltron decks in general is just like, all right, you play 4 cards. If those 4 cards stay in play, you probably kill one or more players, right? That's just yeah, Conqueror's Flail is so tricky, right? Like, yeah, it doesn't just win you the game, but it gives you it's a way to not get blown out, right? When you're like, I want to have a big turn now. I would prefer that people don't like just riff me during my turn, right? So it's sort of a niche thing. Yeah, I mean, it's not that niche, but like you're basically it gives you a way to combat instants, right? That's what it does. And not getting like demolished on your turn when you're trying to go for the win. And yeah, it's it's not as focused as some of the other things in the deck. It's more of like a silver bullet against instants, but um yeah, they can have something responding quick. So Conqueror's Fall is interesting because it itself is not that threatening, right? If you just throw it on like a Fervent Champion or something like that, that's not something that's probably going to draw removal. But then the following turn, like you set it up a turn ahead of time to, uh, have the big turn. The top end's pretty tight. Got the Fire and Ice. I like Fire and Ice, and it does very good things. What I do need to do is what I have found in some circumstances is that what's that card called? Iron Crag Feet. Iron Crag Feet can be very helpful in certain circumstances. I mean, I guess it's probably less good than a Jessica's Will, but it is a lot cheaper. Like a big ritual like that is very helpful to get Aurelia in and still have mana left to like equip things and stuff. Maybe Regalia is too watered down. I want to see it one time. We're at 35 lands. Um, It could be. Like, it could be too watered down, but there is also the world in which is really helpful for our ground creatures. High Noon or Canonist? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll get rid of the High Noon. Canonist is too good, I think. Okay. I wasn't going to do this because it's late, but I'm actually going to fire a game up with this because I am curious. Hopefully we get to see some new cards. And hopefully this game doesn't take a million years. And there is some chance that I just get tired and go to bed. We'll see how that plays out. But they change the menus here. And I can find nothing. The deck is legal, right? We should change the name of the deck to Aurelia. Weapons of War 2024. The very end of 2024. No, that's not what I wanted. Commander, where is the casual commander? Commander open play. I think this is the one I want. There we go. High power casual. Bring something good. That sounds like us. I'm going to try to play it now. I'm very tired. I should probably go to bed. I have a long day tomorrow. But here we are. Might be doing the old lunchtime nap. Hopefully everyone plays fast. Even if we don't get to the end of this game or if we get blown out, as long as we like see a few new cards, I can live with that. Because yeah, there's some new stuff that is like I'm genuinely very curious about. Well, we need one more for this game. There we go. We got one new card and a bunch of lands. I think this hand is probably too slow. Hirobi? Oh, no. This thing? Oh, yeah, this hand's definitely too slow. This is only a little bit. I'm going to keep on the strength of Pure Steel Paladin. Did find this thing, though. And hopefully we draw an equipment soon, and then we trigger the Pure Steel Paladin, and... Man, I thought this thing died in a grease fire many years ago, and... Ugh. I mean, I don't know, like, as bad as this is still worse. This card is just dumb and ruins magic. I don't even know what this is. Deeds of the Restless. Whenever a Lurgoyf permanent is put into your graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, put it onto the battlefield. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat of a player, create a Lurgoyf token. I don't really know what to make of that. It seems graveyardy, which is always scary, but... The joy of playing Hirobi when everyone ran Lightning Greaves? Yeah. Yep. I've only faced Hirobi a couple times, and, like, you know, everyone just kind of agrees that no one's ever going to let that Hirobi stay in play, so... Sort of becomes a non-issue. Play the Alpine Meadow. We have a lot of ramp, which is good. Since we don't have an equipment yet, I might go for all the Signets and Talismans first. If we draw an equipment, I might change my mind on that, but... Hirobi is quite possibly the worst deck we could run against. Yeah, in some sense, yes. But like I said, my experience against Hirobi has been that everyone else wants to keep their stuff, so they keep Hirobi out of play. I actually like really, really hate this card. Um, I get that cards are getting stronger, but like this, basically you just run a deck that's all ramp, right? It's sort of the new Maelstrom Wanderer, right? But worse. Like all you need to do is ramp and cast your commander, and like that's if you do that a couple times, that probably wins you the game with like no additional effort. Yeah, like Hirobi does die to itself if you target it with something, so it is easy to get out of play in that sense. Well, farewell is useful for a lot of things. Um, yeah, let's get the what does this one do? Let's get this thing in. Get the talisman. Maybe I want to do that in the other order. I don't know if it matters. Would like to draw some equipment so we can do pure steel paladin things. Oh, we activating Gaia Reach? No, we're getting an Underworld Connections. Bummer. Bummer. You just drew farewell? No way. If I play Misfail, this one makes white. That one makes white. We have pure steel mana. We should be okay. Where's that Blood Moon at? Blood Moon would force him to find Blade of Cells, really. At least they're not just like running 70 ramp cards. That's refreshing. So if you play like competitive 1v1 commander, which I mean I guess is all 1v1 commander on Magic Online, but yeah, like in 1v1, literally the deck is just ramp. Like all you need to do is cast this and then you get free stuff, and then, you know, if you haven't shot it for some reason, they flip it over and then it kills you. Three visits. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Because if we play the Signet, try to get that, that will mess with the mana. So we did that, and then we played two. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So we probably need to play the Rogue's Passage to avoid that. Yeah, I mean, I would say Atali is the most disgusting Gruul commander. I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know if it's CEDH viable, but like from what I've seen it do in 1v1, I would imagine that it probably is. Um, it is just Ugh. Okay, so Rogue's Passage. Nope, we need that one. Borrow Signet. And we'll get the Pure Steel and pray for an equipment next turn. That Atali is much less toxic in the 99. Yeah, I mean, because you can't, like, it's harder to find for sure, but it's just like, why is it so strong? For 7 mana, you get to cast 4 cards for free. And then it transforms, and the backside is just incredibly lethal creature that's indestructible. Yeah, Gruul's interesting, right? So, the classic Gruul commander is Xenagos. And, Xenagos is a really simple, straightforward deck that, like, probably kills you. It's kind of just how it works. And I've always admired the simplicity of it and just how effective it is. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about like the Atali effect of just like, what was it, ETB? Yeah, it's an ETB, right? Like it should at least be a cast trigger so you can't blink it. But yep, no love, no love. Borboremos Enraged. That's a fun deck. I haven't seen that one in a long time. Clothis is interesting. Because it itself, it doesn't like necessarily push you into a direction, but it is a nice kind of disruption piece for the graveyards, and I forget the other ability on there. Worth the Raid Mother. Yeah, Worth the Raid Mother is I want a combo as fast as humanly possible. Rurik is interesting. So someone in my playgroup used to play him when I was playing at the shop, and that was when we were playing against like really strong decks, like decks that were just barely good enough, just barely not good enough to play CEDH. So they're like turn 5 to turn 6, but very consistent. Someone would run Rurik, and that would allow like my Angels deck to just beat up all the combo decks because no one could combo because of the Rurik, and it actually created some very fun table dynamics. What do you think? Equipment off the top? Show me equipment off the top. No, it's not our turn yet. What is that? No. Prismatic Vista. Yeah, it's easy to forget that Rurik is reach, so yeah, you do need like bigger creatures. Or a Gisela or something. Yeah, man. Alright, so they got some stuff in the graveyard. What happens? Permanent card is put into your graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, so they're probably going to try to like mill themselves, loot themselves. Well, that's not what we needed. That's unfortunate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess we just run an Arden out there and hope our stuff doesn't get blown up. Got a 1-4, a big thing, and a 5-6, so I guess we're not attacking anywhere. Yep, that's unfortunate. Oh, wait. Can we steal this thing? You may attach any number of or equipment you control. Nope. Nope. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Coffee tomorrow. Appreciate it. I'm a tea guy, but we can make that work. We can make that work. I've been doing really good about going to bed early too. I think we're not going to be successful on that tonight. Like I said, this is the problem with testing the 99 is that sometimes your 99 backfires on you. And would love to draw an equipment. They're probably never going to activate the Gaia Reach also because they put the black market connections on it. I mean, unless they're like super low on life, which I guess could happen with the Doom Whisperer. Because I would love to loot right now. You blame the Rogue's Passage and not the colorless land that I suggested. I mean, that's not the issue. We just need an equipment, right? Cryptghast is kind of disgusting. Erratic Portal is very disgusting. Some of that's going to need an answer, particularly the Cryptghast. Because if not, they cast their commander and then just start. If it's only one creature a turn, it's kind of a game of don't have the most threatening creature. Which is an interesting game. Like, that's a game that I play a lot with tap creature tribals, right? When there's an Avatar of Woe in play, it's a game of don't have the most threatening creature. I guess this is kind of chill for a 7 more turns than farewell moment. Yeah, the game's not like running away with stuff, so. Well, the problem with Forge Anew is that we have no equipment. Really, I would just like to see an equipment, maybe one that has like. I guess Pro Black wouldn't help us necessarily, since this is colorless. Here comes Atali. Well, we know where the Hirobi will be focusing its efforts. If they know what's good for them. Yeah, we're kind of in a bad spot. The fact that we did not... I mean... Shram doesn't really help us from where we were, so I guess we get to the next card, though... Well, yeah, because no, if we draw Shram, then that means we don't find what we need, and that's a whole thing. So, yeah, I mean, I guess there's something about... Also, Hearth and Home's in the deck, and Hearth and Home can get our creature back, and that could be cool. In all likelihood, what'll probably happen is that we'll probably just need to farewell at some point, but... Yeah, we kind of got into a weird spot here. I was thinking probably just like Ignite the Future. Actually, Ignite the Future might not be bad because Showdown of the Scalds, because the CMC of the deck is actually pretty low now. Like, it's much low. It's the lowest it's ever been in, its history, right? Barely any 4-drops, barely any 5, barely any 6. So, when you have a low CMC, you can get away with Impulse Draw pretty well. Yeah, Jessica's Will would be good too. Jessica's Will, again, it's awkward with Aurelia just because, like, and again, it's a very good card. It's very strong, and, like, it should probably be in there. But You're not going to get both modes all that often because of Aurelia, right? Being slow. Like, a lot of times you're probably going to use the mana mode to get Aurelia into play. And, how big is that? That's a 5/6? Ugh. All right, well, I guess they're making a Largo token. Yeah, I mean, I should probably run. Yeah, just because Will would smooth a lot of things out, but we could very much use 3 extra cards. It is crazy. Like, I hadn't realized this because I haven't tried to make this deck in a while, but like, I feel like almost every card in the deck is doing at least 2 things now. That's what it feels like to me. I mean, I'm sure there's still probably, this still only does one thing, but yeah, like almost every card in the deck feels like it's multi-purpose now, and that's kind of crazy to me. Fear of missing out. What? Enters, discard a card, then draw a card. Delirium. Attacks the first time each turn. If what? If there are 4 or more in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this, there's an additional combat step. That's interesting. What's this thing do? Oh, it exiles graveyards. That's exciting. Turn up to 1 target historic card from your graveyard. Yeah, someone just like mill us a little. Find something cool. No wheel in the deck. Where we are now wouldn't be like the worst time for a wheel since, well, X-Guard is slow but okay. That in theory solves our issues next turn, or maybe the turn after, somewhere. I don't think it's worth us. It feels like it escalated over there a bit. I think Hirobi is probably going to shoot a whole bunch of things, so probably, yeah, like Aurelia is always kind of a target, so I don't think it's worth playing Aurelia right here. What's the order with this one? At the beginning of combat, you may attach. Yeah, you have to control them. We don't control them, so. My kingdom for an equipment. Oh, yeah, this does happen sometimes. Oh, you know what I forgot to put? I forgot to put Prophetic Flame Speaker in the deck. That's another one that like really kind of irons out a lot of inconsistency. Opponent surveilling. I'm jealous. I would love to surveil. Get to things that matter. Let's do a little check on our mana. See what we can do next turn. So it's 4 plus that, so essentially 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That leaves us with 2. Ugh. Nezumi Grave Robber. This is a really interesting card. I haven't been able to do this a lot, but if you're making a lot of extra mana like this, you can exile all of someone's graveyard and then flip this over. The other side of this is really powerful. It's 5 reanimate a creature from anywhere. So, it takes a lot of mana to do, but yeah, they're probably just going to do this against the Lurgoyf deck right now. Now, I am concerned that they did not cast their commander. We still have an Atali that needs to die. Yeah, they flipped it. Yeah, it's really strong on this side. Well, if you're reanimating it, No, the reanimating wouldn't kill it because it's not in play when you target it. Phyrexian Arena, also jealous. Oh, they can erratic portal. I don't know that erratic portal is. Well, opponent scooped. I don't know that erratic portal is the answer we want it to be, unless they do it right now. But even then, they still probably just recast it, and then it all just happens again. Oh, this would have actually. This would have been a good final showdown turn. Wait, actually, can we still do? We can still do that, can't we? We have a final showdown. I forgot this card's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, opponent's going to attack him in the air. I love that. Also, one player getting out of here means this game will end sooner, and I would like to go to bed at some point, so that's good for us. What does it take to... So you got to pay 1, and then 6 to destroy all creatures, and then 7 to protect them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd prefer to protect our creatures. Yeah, they're going to myriad the thing. We'll see what the other deck's thinking over there. Because it's like... I mean, I guess we're getting to the point... Maybe we have to wipe the board. Maybe we have to wipe the board. Get 0 value from any of our creatures. Triple white. We've got triple white covered. Nature's lore. What do you think? Can we stomach... I guess it's... I mean, he's declaring attackers now, so... I don't think we can win if we just blow the board up right here. That's the issue. We need some amount of value. Yeah, here comes the Atali. Oh, we can get historic permanents back. Okay. That might be relevant, actually. Would they hit? More so I assume that with the portal, yeah, he could protect his own creature against a board wipe. And Treasonous Ogre. Expedition map. We're not running Treasonous Ogre, are we? Well, we are running a Caduceus. That is ours. Okay. And they're gonna draw a card. They're gonna draw off casting and equipment before us. That is frustrating. And that's an equipment that we could have cast and would have been beautiful. I mean, we probably just sit Final Showdown for next turn. This is going to hurt. Because we can also do this at an end step if we don't need to Final Showdown. This is a scary card because they're still at 33 life. This can gain them life back. I don't think... Yeah, they can't equip this, which is nice. We need to find a way to regain control of it. I don't think Hearth and Home... I think Hearth and Home's only creatures. I don't think you can get this back with it. Probably a case of, like, having to blow it up, then reanimate it. It is frustrating that the control deck kind of let this happen, right? Like, you know, I get that we have some tools, but our tools are, like, very costly. The Hirobi deck is, like, made to stop things like this from happening. And they just did... I get that this thing is cool, but, like, it's not the play that they needed to make. Yeah, it's bedtime. Sun's getting real low. Yeah, sun's been down for, like, 6 hours or something. Yeah, that's not a card you ever play fairly. Oh, well, there's a land. Play the land. Yeah, we think we just hit Final Showdown. And make sure this board gets nuked. Curious to see what they do on this turn. They do have the machine gun of... They can, like, shoot stuff and then reanimate it. Arden cannot take your equipment back. I've tried this already. It says you may attach on your, any number of aura and equipment to target player. Wait, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of auras and equipment you control. It says you control. So we do not control this, which makes me very sad. There's a card called, what is it, Armory Automaton, I think, that does let you, like, borrow other people's equipment. They can still re-equip it back to their thing, but they have to take the time to do it. It's a little awkward. It's an awkward card, but it's also, like, at times it can be powerful. I mean, this would be a great time for it and get some use out of our this and whatever, but yeah, own would be more beneficial to us here so that we could get our thing back. That's a Nykthos that just came down. That's actually not great. The saving grace was, what, 13 mana? No big deal. The saving grace was that we need them to run out of mana. Tendrils of Corruption. There's one you don't see. On the Atali. Except it's not big enough to kill it, which is strange. I used to run this card. I would still run this card if I were playing the right deck. Opponent's gonna loot. Actually, really like that. That's a Blood Moon. Blood Moon shuts off Nykthos, and they got Forest now, so it's not going to do as much against them. But put Waves in the graveyard. Waves can just kind of sit there waiting for us. Blood Moon. Of course, it's against the red-green deck. Tendrils of Corruption still somewhat good. Yeah, right? And so there's more ways to drop lands in now, right? You can run Forge and Frontier. Which Bitterthorn, Hearth and Home, right? That can really up your swamp count. It's not a bad little card. 4 mana's like maybe a little bit. It is an instant. It gains you life. It's important in a black deck. Opponent's still surveilling. Still surveilling. Yeah, slamming Blood Moon when Atali is the problem might not be the way. That's fair. Yeah, maybe we're looting that Blood Moon. The era of Blood Moon may have passed. Oh, okay, I see. Opponent was looking for a very specific thing. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. The beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Gisa onto the battlefield. Under your control, they gain Decayed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we wipe the board at this end step, opponent loses this mana dork, which means they can't recast their commander. Although, if a creature an opponent controls would die... Oh, yeah, that's an issue. That is... well... Oh, no, if we do this, though... Then all creatures lose all abilities, and that's very helpful. Alright, what do you guys think? When should we slam this? We can slam the final showdown at the end of the mono black player's turn. Or we can try and, like, wait and see what happens with the Atali and get them to, like, basically try to waste their turn just using up mana. But we do have this Blade of Selves Atali business to deal with. Oh, someone just shuffled a Kozilek. Beginning of combat is actually a good thought. See if we can get them to, like, tap out some mana first. On the other hand, let's assume they, like... What if they just transform this thing? Oh, it's indestructible on the backside. Well, this removes all abilities. Okay. So, like, if they went into... If they transform this, and then we're, like, gonna swing over here, which seems like it would be correct to me, then I'd probably just let that go through, because that's, like, a super costly... Yeah, okay, they're gonna transform that. Hopefully this is working the right way. It's not. It is. It is indeed 6 more free spells. It is. That is a lot of free spells. Did it have the same ability on the backside? Oh no. So the problem. Okay, I think we just have to do this anyway because the problem is that. Okay, yeah. So because it'll myriad, it doesn't have the spells on the backside. It has the. It does a ton of poison damage to you on the backside. So I think now is a great time for this final showdown. Choosing all the modes. Final showdown. This is my first time casting it. Looks ridiculous. Who made this? And just like we wanted, opponents spent most of their mana transforming Atali. So Final Showdown nullifying Heroic Intervention is crazy. Yeah, Heroic Intervention is a card that has gotten me so many times. Opponent's going to surveil. It's unfortunate for the other day. Felt amazing. I believe it. I believe it. Yeah. Wow. Instant speed, removes abilities, protects your stuff. That's a magic card. What's the paper cost of these? I don't even know. It's got to be expensive, right? Yeah, opponent's going to save their Crypt Ghast, as you would expect. Still, they have to use a bunch of mana to recast it, so they don't have a big turn next turn. It gives us some time to get into this thing. God, I would love to rip an equipment off the top. That'd be so nice. $4.81. Yeah, that's not bad. For what we just did. For what we just did, that is not bad. Is it only one creature? Choose a creature you control. It gains indestructible. I feel like we need the pure steel for the card draw. Also, Arden is we could in theory get the Arden back with this thing if we really want to. Blood Moon looking better now? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Although you know what, we don't have any planes. These two make white mana. Okay. I probably need to hold off on the Blood Moon until we can crack this thing though, because if we don't find anything useful, then this is probably what's gonna do things for us. That's not what we were looking for. Okay, crack this thing. Okay. Feast and Famine, always a winner, but we do really badly need card draw. Leonidas could loot the Blood Moon. I mean, is it just Mask of Memory? I feel like it might just be Mask of Memory. Get us cards? Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be the Mask right here. We just don't have enough to do. Play the Mask. Draw a card. That is more card draw after that. I love that. Free equip this thing. Some part of me wants to play this as a land. Like, the protection spell is good, but we are not... We've not... Yeah, we're playing this as a land. Nope, we don't have to do that just yet. I might play it as a land if we don't find something, though. Swing into a Tali. That's a lot of mana to go find a Mask of Memory. Use the ability. But when you need to draw cards, you need to draw cards. Jit is a good one. I don't think we're casting the Blood Moon. It doesn't do anything against the Tali, and it helps a little over here, but... Well, maybe it helps more than I think it does. That's Devotion. He gives him 2 extra swamps, which the thing does. And that's a double strike. I guess it's Shelter. Yeah. Get rid of the Shelter. There is some world in which that Blood Moon might be needed. Play the Sunhome. Okay, this is actually not too bad. Play the Sunhome, then cast Jit, draw another card. Actually, maybe we probably should have waited on that for that thing. Lauren is helpful. Free equip. Okay, things are turning around. ABC always been drawing cards, I've been told, yeah. Yeah, in some sense, it's good to be mana efficient, but I do kind of wish that I save this for this, though I guess there's no guarantee that we necessarily play this next turn. Yeah, there's a few more card draw creatures that we probably have to add. We need a Kiri and Prophetic Flame Speaker. And maybe a Showdown of the Scalds is really good. Showdown of the Scalds is probably worth adding also. Maybe Ignite. Get the card draw sorted out a little bit. New opponent's got more mana than I hoped off the Nykthos. We don't have a Plains. We probably need to find a basic Plains. We're going on the Blood Moon plan. Nahiri Forged Anew. Is that the... which one is that? Forged in Fury. Is there a Forged Anew? Who knows? Crypt Gas coming back. Forged in Fury. Oh, yeah. You know, she's okay. She's a weird card. Maybe she's okay in the 99. I tried playing her as a commander. I didn't actually care for as a command. What is this as a commander that much? If it was cast, each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down. Wonderful. I guess now is the time to not be drawing cards. So we all have 6 cards remaining in our library. Fantastic. Let's see. Oh, they're face down. We don't even know what's left. Okay. Okay. That complicates things. The Sky Hunter, I don't care for that much. It's really... Because it's an attack trigger, it's really slow. We have Aster in the deck, which is that effect, but an ETB. So it's quicker, and Aster's got the equip 1 cost on it, which is super helpful. I mean, opponent has Phyrexian Arena. They have this thing. I assume their next move is to try and cast Hirobi. All we have to do is get one hit with Jit, and we can shoot the Cryptghast, which cuts down a lot of problems. Opponent can force some extra draws with the Gaia Reach, which is annoying. Yeah, Tali coming back. One less card in the library. One last card in the library. Well, this is getting interesting. Oh, dear God. Breach the multiverse. Each player mills 10 cards. For each player, choose a creature card or planeswalker. Okay, so the next thing we do is... Oh, no, we only have one white permanent. Oh, we need a second white permanent for the thing. Is that how we die? I think that's how we die. Yeah, what is this game? What is this game? Opponent got our Arden. Yeah, we have no cards in library. It's kind of a problem. Yeah, what is this thing? Why did this have to be a card? I guess it's just Doomsday on a creature. Didn't seem necessary. Was Mistveil Plains mainly for Sunforger and like weird stuff like this. It's also good, like if you're running a lot of tutors, sometimes you're just like, oh, the thing in my graveyard, I have a tutor. If I put it back in the deck, I can get it back. You control 2 or more white permanents. Are any of these white? We need one of them to be white. We're all... Why are we already dead? I don't get what just happened. Well, we're dead. Yep, the Tali's getting there. Well, that sucks. It was not really our game. Things got very, very awkward. Okay, so we need to make a few changes. Showdown of the Skulls. Akiri's equipment based. I mean, do we just go Ignite for now? Prophetic Flame Speaker is good because it doesn't require equipment. And Prophetic Flame Speaker is kind of ridiculous. What are we cutting? I have no idea. So if we left High Noon in, High Noon would have been the answer to the Atali. Yeah, you know, with the Mistveil Plains, because games are so quick now, you actually don't get to use Mistveil Plains very much unless there's a Feast and Famine involved. But every once in a long while, you know, you'll have that like, oh, if we had a second white permanent, we could put something back and then not die, right? And just, you know, try to give ourselves a chance here. Or you have a tutor, you put a thing back, you tutor for the thing is another one that comes up. Occasionally, again, it's like you have to get into that weird spot of the game where it's like that play really matters, and so often now you just get blown out so easily that like that's not the play that's going to save you necessarily. So, oh yeah, just yeah, it's probably the Jessica as well. Um, and then yeah, I mean if we put Ignite the Future, that should really like smooth out a lot of things. Overall, I probably should have mulliganed to another hand. I was really counting on. Basically, the problem is we didn't find an equipment early enough to like get the train rolling with Pure Steel Paladin. Got Showdown, got Jessica's, got Ignite the Future. Yeah, in that moment, Blood Moon wasn't really like what we needed it to be, so I guess we cut that. So I guess it's one of those things. It's like, it's not great late. Things are already weird. We're a few over. This thing, it's okay, but it sort of suffers from the same problem. I mean, I guess it's a worse Shram in a sense, in that it's impulse draw. It is a 3/3 trample, but it's also a turn slower, right? There's a difference between 2 and 3 that's fairly sizable. So maybe we're getting rid of this guy because it's like realistically, again, like if you draw him late, like where we just did, then you have to cast this before you cast the equipment, and just to impulse one card is. So we'll get rid of that because we've got Iron Crag, or we've got Showdown and Ignite the Future now. We're 2 over. What time is it? It's past 1:40. Okay, so we're 2 cards over. I'm gonna mess with this more tomorrow and try to get this list finished up. At some point, I'll try to get like a much better showing for this deck, either in a stream or a video. I haven't decided yet. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for helping with the deck. And we'll see you guys real soon. Have a good night.